Hi everyone, Joe Mardalona here. Welcome to my channel if you are new here, and welcome back if you already subscribed. By the way, today we are going to talk about 7 tips in order to improve your portrait photography. For tip number 1, mind the location. When you already have your subject or your model, you're going to think about a location that needs to be less distracting. You don't want to be shooting in the middle of the streets of a busy city unless that's what you are going for, because it will be really hard to shoot, especially for the model. Even if they are professional, it's just hard to have a proper photo shoot if there are a lot of people in the background. Yeah, based on experience, it doesn't really work if you have the most beautiful location but you can't actually shoot because of the people around. And also, the model tends to be feeling awkward because people keep staring, or there are just a lot of noises, there's a lot of people walking by. So what I suggest is to find a location where you can concentrate on conversing with your model, instructing her, where she can hear you instructing her, where you can also like properly position her. Also, what I would suggest is shooting in the park. In the park is really good because there's a lot of spaces where you can avoid those people, and also you got a lot of shades just in case it will rain or just in case it's too sunny for you to shoot in an open space. For number 2, you have to have the sharpness. If you scroll on your photos, you can easily see those photos that are not in focus. In order to have a really sharp image, decrease the aperture. If you have a lens that can shoot in 1.4 aperture, it's really hard not to shoot a sharp photograph. Another tip is to move your subject away from the background. If you have like a good distance between your model and the background, the tendency is that your model will really pop. She will be really separated from the background. If you don't have that much space, you can easily just also move closer to the subject. If you move closer to the subject, the background will be a bit more blurry than what it used to be. Number 3 is the outfit. We usually neglect the outfit of the model when we shoot. If you are doing portrait photography, you can never just neglect it. If you are shooting, for example, in a forest or in a park where there's a lot of green backgrounds, you should avoid asking your model to wear green. It will be hard for you to like separate her from the background when you do the post process or when you edit the pictures. Normally, we want the subject to stand out. That is why orange and teal color grading is really popular. For example, your background is teal and you have your model wearing orange. They are really in contrast. So color contrast plays a big role in order for your image to be standing out. For number 4 tip, shoot through anything. This is my favorite tip actually. I usually do this a lot. If I find it really boring to take just a normal portrait, I usually find something like leaves or my hands or the model's hands to put in front of the camera so that you will have like a nice foreground which really blurs out and it will direct your attention to the subject. Number 5 is framing. There are a lot of rules that covers framing. Number 1 is the rule of third. You don't want to have like so much dead spaces or meaningless spaces in the background. So you just have to put your subject aligned to that line in the grid. That makes me to the second tip, which is using your grid. First thing first, if you want to have a better framing, you just need to have that grids handy. You know that grid lines that you used to ignore? You need to have that in mind, that you position your subject aligned to the grid. For example, if you want to use the rule of third, you want to put the subject aligned to the one vertical line in your frame. You don't want her to be too much to the left or too much to the right. Another tip is to use the leading lines. Leading lines are the lines pointing towards your subject. Even if you have like a normal audience, they can easily see that there is something special with the photo. That is because in their subconscious mind, they are processing the leading lines. Another thing is fill the frame. If you have a model who got really interesting face, you don't want to be like shooting far away from her. You want to be closer, to focus on her face, and you want to fill that frame with her face alone, and you don't want to be having a lot of distractions there. So just make use of the frame. Make sure that everything in the frame tells a story. And for number 6 are the angles. Angles, with you just moving to the left, to the right, or moving up, or moving down, with these small details change, you can easily see a lot of difference. For example, just a tip for you, if you are going for like an innocent or a fragile subject, you can shoot her from a higher angle. That way, if you're shooting down, your model will look like fragile or innocent. And in the opposite, if you're shooting your model from below, or if you're shooting up, your model will look taller. They'll have the sense of authority as well. They will look like they're really confident. So it depends on what your concept is. Changing the angles could really affect the story. And last but not the least, number 7 is the lighting. Well, I have told you over and over again, lighting is really important. What is the best lighting? If you ask me, for me, the best lighting is where you can see a balance between the shadows and the highlights. You have to make sure that there's not too much shadows, especially on the face. You should have like a nice blend of shadows in the face and not harsh shadows that can mark, you can easily see the lines. That is not professional looking, unless that's what you're going for again. In one of my vlog, I used like the hands to have like a shadow on the face. That is different. You intentionally do that. We can easily see if you intentionally do it or not. Also, you don't want to have too much highlights. If you have too much highlights, the details of the face will be gone. You wouldn't be able to see them, which is not very professional looking. You wouldn't want that. That is why I'm using a lot of dodging and burning in my photographs. If I don't have the proper lighting when I was shooting them in RAW, then I will have to edit them. I will have to correct the amount of shadows that I would want. Dodging and burning, or the highlights and shadows, are really prominent if you're doing like a painting like portrait. That's why with my photographs, you can easily see the highlights and the shadows because I'm really paying attention to them. So that is just about the lighting, but there's more to it. Maybe I can do a session just for the lighting. Those are my 7 tips to improve or better your portrait photography instantly. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and you learned something from it. If you did, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot. Don't also forget to click the notification bell so you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Peace.
Let the rest of our lives decide